medium fast, and Ireland will start with 2 slips. That has been helped round the corner for 4 runs. Wrong line.
An absolute gift to begin with. Poor line, poor length. Time in the world for Saim Ayub to get himself going. Is nothing better than a boundary of the first delivery for a batsman who's feeling under the pump. And Saim had an easy start. He'll take the boundary. Pakistan off and running. Spot on, good response. Mark Adair is angling across the left-hander with 2 slips in place. Will be challenging Saim Ayub on that outside the off-stump line.
Yes, anything on that sort of hip, that leg stump, is like saying to Saim Ayub, where would you like me to bowl? And he'll tell you there. So stay away. It's a no-go area for bowlers when Saim Ayub is on strike. That's where you've got to bowl to him. You've got to tempt him. Those 2 slips are there for a reason. They're there for Mark Adair to nibble away full length and tempt Saim Ayub. Go on, have a go at this.
Running down the hill and getting plenty of bounce as well. That would really encourage Mark Adair. Those last 2 deliveries, the shape was there, the areas was good, and also the bounce. Try and drag him out of his comfort zone onto that front foot.
It's been a feature, actually, of this tournament that the captains have begun with a couple of slips. It'll just tell you that they believe that these pitches, as true as they are, they offer something to the medium fast bowlers with the brand new ball, which I think is good for cricket. It's good for the game.
Yeah, that does give that balance between bat and ball, because we see in the second half of the innings or later on, batters can really dominate and score big. But that initial phase, they have to be a bit circumspect. Because of that movement, more evidence of that. A little fumble there, but no damage done. I've always felt throughout the series with the new ball, the test match length and that 4-stump line have really been challenging for the batters. But still, I had a feeling that the bowlers didn't persist long enough with that.
Yeah. In his prime, I would like to have seen Wasim Akram running down the slope here, and maybe Waqar Younis running slightly up the slope. See, that's leg stump and well fielded.
Although not a bad piece of bowling, because that did straighten down the line, having pushed Saim across the off stump. Good over from Adair after the boundary. 1 gone, 4 for none.
Well, it's lovely now. It's warm and plenty of blue sky around with scattered cotton wool clouds. Happy to be alongside you here, Fazal, as we're looking here at Graham Hume, South African born. He's been playing for Ireland the last couple of seasons. Medium pace. He removed Babar Azam in the last match, and then unfortunately for him had a bit of a nightmare in the field. He dropped a couple of catches. He's like a battery that never loses its charge. There's always a spark with Rizwan. That's what I love about his game. If he's in the field, he's everywhere, and he's a keeper.
Yeah, and you see his short stature, but you see he's so quick, so agile. He never is still. You're right. Even in the field without gloves, he's absolutely electric. He saw a wonderful catch earlier today, but I've seen him take some incredible catches in domestic cricket where he's just running like 20, 30 yards full tilt and catching the ball, diving forward, parallel to the ground.
Yeah.
His knees hitting the ground in a way, softens the blow. Great agility.
Leg side, helped round the corner. Don't bowl there. to Saim Ayub. Message to the bowlers.
Once again, that line. Meat and drink for Saim Ayub. He wouldn't really mind getting away to this kind of start. Like I said, he was under pressure, but this is now 2 freebies. Ireland would be disappointed. Hume, with his pace, that line is just there for the taking.
Yes, it is. Saim Ayub, the wickets are not threatened. Nothing is threatened there. No LBW, no wicket. So you've got to change your line to this fella. You've got to.
Mark Adair showed what needed to be done. Just angle it across him initially.
It's gone after him. Lofts him over extra. It won't go for 4. Oozing confidence. You see, already he feels he's got the measure of Graham Hume.
Yeah, Hume's pace is just about the right kind of pace that Saim can take charge and dictate. That's what he thinks. Although it didn't come off the middle of the bat. Was just a hint of movement away from Saim. He couldn't find the middle, but he's letting Hume know that what he wants to do. The challenge there for Hume. Test of character for him coming back after those 2 drops. Probably a match costing 2 drop catches.
Bowled. Really well bowled. Well done. That's coming back. You know, you've got to come back with something that's better. Got to outthink, outfox, outmaneuver. This battle between bat and ball, it's and in this form of cricket where you know that the batters are after you with everything they have in their repertoire. 179 is the target. Should be well within the reach of Pakistan, but early wickets will change that equation. Here he goes again. This time it is 4.
Take that. Saim Ayub had made his mind very, very early. Finds a boundary to close out over number 2, Pakistan, 15 for none. At Hume's pace, if you're not really spot on with your lines and your length, modern day batters are going to go after you, and Hume would have found that out in this over.
So the sun is shining brightly. Awful day yesterday. I'm not sure what the players could have done or what they did, but I would imagine they would have enjoyed the sanctity of the hotel. It rained all day long. Horrid. What did you do, Faisal?
Nothing. Just stuck to my room and couldn't do. I just got out to see if I can get a walk in, but I couldn't. No. I just stayed inside. But we're lucky that it was yesterday and not today.
Correct.
Because it's absolutely beautiful today.
Right now, Mark Adair still with a slip. There were 2. It's now just the 1. Rizwan just takes his time.
Just the 2 deliveries for Rizwan in the first 2 overs. Saim the strike.
Two slips, I beg your pardon. 2 slips, they've been kept in, which is good to see.
Yeah, that's good from Tucker because Rizwan hasn't done any damage yet. He hasn't found the middle of the bat, unlike Saim has. Although you'd have to feel that Ireland were guilty of providing easy deliveries for Saim to get away to a start. But once again, even that last delivery, Rizwan was shaping to play it onto the onside, got squared up a little bit. That suggests there is something off the back of a length if you hit the seam early on.
That's well fielded. Craig Young saving a boundary. Rizwan, mischievous. The mischievous Rizwan. He plays with bowlers. He plays with their psyche. There's a sort of a psychological warfare he plays because he moves around, he improvises, he's impish. Great little player. I love watching him bat.
Just cannot keep him quiet. I mean, even that last ball, he was in trouble, but second delivery just came down charging.
It's gone a mile high. And it's been taken. George Dockrell takes an absolute skyer. Maybe he could have left it to the keeper, Lorcan Tucker, but Dockrell said, I'll do the job. I'll do it. And he's taken a brilliant catch.
You saw Tucker was converging on that ball, but Dockrell's shout was nice and early and pretty loud. He got himself positioned beautifully. This is not an easy catch. Saim Ayub will walk away once again with another failure. Gone for 14. Pakistan 16 for 1.
So that brings Pakistan's captain to the middle, Babar Azam. And how many times have these two, Babar Azam, Mohammad Rizwan, been in harness, in partnership for Pakistan?
Yeah. They're not opening anymore, but how often we see them back together. Saim is playing across the line. That little bit of movement really committing him that error. And that was a good catch. I mean, it was superbly judged. Never easy. Yes, that's the sight that most of the fans would have turned up hoping to see. Babar Azam. Got a 50 in the first game. A duck in the second. Is one slip in place for him.
Oh, that's been given a wide.
That's what Babar can make you do. It there went for the magic delivery, I think, but it didn't straighten. It just went down the line. You'll see bowlers trying to make that little bit of extra effort to get Babar early. And in doing so, Dare lost his line.
Well bowled. On another day, Dare might well have picked up the skipper. This is what he does, Fazal. He just gets a little bit, he gets the ball to misbehave, because these bowlers like Mark Adair and Craig Young and Graham Hume, they're brought up to do these things with the ball.
Yeah, and Adair is relatively consistent as well in hitting those good areas. That's why he's troubled the batters, got rid of Saim and almost getting rid of Babar. Sweetly timed by Babar Azam. It's again not a half volley, but a beautiful flow of the bat.
You know, this word timing that we use a lot. I mean, Babar's got it. You've just, everything he does, I mean, it's just, he's not a big fella at all. It's just the way that that bat comes through in the most perfect, optimum bat swing. Meets the ball, the middle of that willow, with elegance. Oh, they're going to get one here. Little misfield of the parry. End of the over. 3 gone, 18 for 1.
Talk about the elegance and grace of Babar Azam. He hits that drive. All his movements are synchronized in such a majestic way. You can just watch it all day long.
Pakistan, the run rate required 9.47 right now. They've been a little on the sedate side. They're not going to worry about that, because still to come, of course, the likes of Fakhr Zaman, Azam Khan, Iftikhar, so much batting. Graham Hume. And I think it's the understanding now between Rizwan and Babar Azam. These two have batted so many times together. They know where the single might be taken. They know exactly how they play. That's the advantage they've got.
One of the more underrated parts of this partnership is their understanding between the wickets, the way they're both quick, but also they're excellent judge of a run as well.
Goodness me. Rizwan. That is audacious. 6 from the diminutive Rizwan, and it's gone a long, long way.
Wow. Just came charging down the wicket and found the middle of the bat. Definitely we'll have another ball because it went a long, long way. And Hume is under the pressure. His pace, like I said, is just right for these batters to go after him. And even though it wasn't a bad, good area, but Rizwan has decided he will give the charge. And how good he was. Well,
they found the ball. Well done, sir. Well, that's just saved Cricket Island 140 US.
I was listening to you earlier when you were mentioning all those prizes, and I was counting in my head how many balls have we lost already in 2 games. That does add up.
It does. And now, headache for Graham Hume, because you're spot on with this pace being the right pace. It's the pace that batsmen like Rizwan, Fakhar Zaman, even Babar Azam, they feel they can use that pace. But now Lorcan Tucker, Ireland's captain and keeper, has decided he's going to stand up to the stumps, which means that Rizwan won't be dancing down the pitch again. Oh, it's going to be 4 runs. Curtis Camphor can't stop it. I think the ball's hit him in the face. It's right in front of us here. He dived full length. Try to stop it. He might have a bruised nose in the morning.
He was coming full tilt and the ball hit the rope before he can get there, and that ricochet bounced off. Probably hit him in the head or the peak of the cap, because he's got up on his feet. Nice bit of timing and placement from Rizwan. Just good use of the wrist. And this is where it all happened. His dive was a little too late, probably off his arm onto his cap.
Onto his nose, I would say. Whatever, ever. It was a valiant effort. Ben White, backward square. Lorcan Tucker's missed it. It's gone through for 4 and given us 4 runs. Yeah, just a little under edge. I think this is right, though, that Lorcan Tucker is standing up, because it's stopping Rizwan going down the pitch, leaving his crease.
I thought it was a good move too, but then Hume has let him down by bowling 2 straight initially, and this one was too wide, although it didn't come off the middle of the bat. But there was the invitation to free the arms for Rizwan, and an under edge earned him another boundary, back-to-back boundaries, following up that 6 earlier in the over. This is expensive. Ireland needed Hume to complement Adair the way he has bowled, but the pressure has been let off, and Pakistan keeping up with the run rate. What will be the options for Lorcan Tucker? What is he thinking? Still 2 overs to go in power play. Who will he turn to? Because I don't think we're going to see Hume bowling from this end. Not for now, at least.
And it's too early to bring in. I mean, we didn't see George Dockrell bowl in the previous 2 matches, so you've got Curtis Camphor. Yeah, Craig Young as well. Four overs gone. Pakistan 33 for 1. Good to see the Pakistan fans and they've been making a lot of noise. Everywhere you go.
Yeah, Dil Pakistan has been playing here at the Clontarf Cricket Club. And it does
Have you been talking to them, Faisal, the fans?
Yeah, I have actually, and they're very enthusiastic. They're here when we get here, which is around 12:30. You could see them queuing up outside the main gate. They just want a glimpse of theirs.
Craig Young is the bowler. Oh, Rizwan. I beg your pardon. Babar Azam didn't know much about.
Seeing that ball, Ireland will be very, very disappointed that they haven't made good use of this new ball. Well, Adair did, but he didn't get no support from Hume. Still, quizzical look from Babar and Rizwan looking at the pitch. Ireland could have made them think a lot more. I can think of at least 4 boundary balls in this power play. Couple to Saim and couple to Rizwan in the previous over.
Rizwan throws those quick hands at the ball, and it's 6 from Rizwan.
Length delivery, Rizwan walked right across his stumps. This is his go-to shot, and now he's hit a few off the middle. He's really feeling confident. Got underneath it. Very, very strong bottom hand. And a solid blow. He means business. There's been a word around world cricket that if you want to tire Rizwan, probably pack the offside and try and hit him through the covers. Because he does change bowlers' lines and lengths the way he moves right across his stumps. So you've got to be always watching his feet running in as a bowler.
This has gone miles. Over deep backward square. 6 more for Rizwan.
Little Rizwan at his very best. Just toying with the bowling. And Young had no answers. Back-to-back 6s. This time was slightly fuller in length. But that movement across, Rizwan was really eyeing that boundary. And the execution has been top-notch.
He's very, very difficult to bowl at. And here we go again. It's the box of balls. Some lovely gardens around this cricket ground, the Castle Cricket Ground in Clontarf. I should imagine some of these balls going up so high have dented some of the lawns.
Yeah, lawns, none of the windows have been damaged just yet.
Look at those hands.
You did mention the other day about him being a hockey player.
What? Yeah?
Those hands with the flick, and
you know what he could do? He could take the sweets from in front of the shopkeeper, in front of him, and the shopkeeper wouldn't even see him.
Well,
and Rizwan would be walking out the shop, chewing those sweets.
If he runs, he'll be out of sight with no time. I mean, you can't catch him anyway.
It's great to watch. 46 for 1. Rizwan steaming ahead here. He's gone after everything. He's literally throwing those hands at everything that comes his way.
That was a slog, but he's seeing them so very well. This time was probably from way outside the off stump as well. He's got the measure of Young, there's no doubt about it. And Young will have to come back with something special. Rizwan has got him for 17 of the over in just 4 deliveries.
Yeah. It's difficult now. You've got to steel yourself up as the bowler here, Craig Young.
Bring out your left arm quicks hat, and what would be you will be doing to Rizwan if he's in that kind of mood?
I would try and get it as full as I could into his toes to stop him using those hands. That's easier said than done, but you've got to back yourself. Got to look for the Yorker, got to look for something at his toes that he's not going to be able to put away. That's superb. Well done. That's a good follow-up. Good riposte from the bowler.
Yeah, every now and then we've seen this little something in the pitch for the bowlers. That's why I say when Ireland would be looking at the scorecard, they would be thinking that there was an opportunity and they've let it go. 50 inside 5 overs is way too many.
Yeah. Come on, finish the over now, Craig Young. Do it for your country. Well bowled. I might look and... No, they won't. Guess what? Rizwan's got the strike. 51 for 1, 5 gone.
Advantage Pakistan in a big way. They're in control of this match. They're in control of this series. Ireland have to keep fighting, have to find a way into Pakistan's middle order. To do that, they'll obviously need wickets, and Curtis Camphor will be turned to as the 4th bowler to be used thus far today. Remember, no Gareth Delaney, no Barry McCarthy. So Ireland shy of a few bowling options as I wish a early good evening, a late good afternoon to Isabel Joyce. Pakistan's game to lose from here.
It absolutely is. 50 up in the 5th over is a difficult one for Ireland. Curtis Camphor starts off with a full wide one and it goes through the gap in extra cover. Sprawling mid-off, can't cut that one off, and it's a boundary to start out his spell.
Yeah, you think of a total target in and around 180, 179 it is to win. You think you're always in the game having those runs on the board, but a combination of a very fine batting surface, maybe the best of the 3 pitches we've played on, and then the small boundaries in and around Clontarf, well, everything's pointing towards the visitors turning this series around and taking it 2-1. Something Ireland have shown, though, in recent times, the last probably 9 to 12 months, is a lot more character, a lot more fight. Can they pull this out of the fire somehow?
I think it's probably one of the more difficult ones to pull out of the fire, because even though if you look at the matchup from the first innings, Ireland 42 for 1 at the same point. So it's not that far away, but that's the value in batting second, because those final 7 overs, Ireland really didn't make Pakistan pay. They went from 129 for 2 in the 13th over and then just made it to 178. So the winning of the game, if Pakistan do get the win, will have been in those 7 overs where Ireland's middle to lower order just didn't fire. And that's not what we usually say. We're normally saying they've kind of saved Ireland, and today it didn't come off for the Ireland middle order.
Yeah, what a wonderful platform Ireland had at 129 for 2. I thought Tucker played as fluently as I've maybe ever seen in this format in particular. And then there was a nice effort again from Andrew Balbirnie, but even though Harry Tector made 30, just numbers 5 through 8, nothing came.
Absolutely, nail on the head. And I think for Tucker, a lot of the time he engineers runs. It doesn't look as fluent, but today he stood and hit the ball as well as I've seen him. Delivery from Camphor, good thinking from him. The 2 fielders are out in the deep on the leg side. But yeah, Tucker just played regular cricket shots on regular occasions, and a lot of the time we see him engineering laps and sweeps and moving around in the crease, dancing down just based on a decision he's made before the ball. And he did that today, but not as much. So it just looked like a much more comfortable innings for him today.
And the big question with his captaincy hat on now is where is he going to turn? Ireland have to keep fighting, have to keep believing. We both feel quite strongly it's in Pakistan's hands for the moment. But T20 cricket is a funny beast. 2 or 3 good overs, you're right back into the game, into the contest. And they will get the ease now with the fielding restrictions going to 5 outside the circle after this final delivery of the power play. If you're Lorcan Tucker, what are you thinking about for those remaining 14 overs? Getting spinners involved?
Well, you've got Ben White, obviously. The problem is that he won't want to bowl to the short straight boundary, so he probably won't come on the next over. He does have 2 right-handers to bowl to, so he'll be happy with that. George Docker was bowling a lot. He always bowls a lot in the warm-up, so he's putting his name in the hat as well. And then you've got Harry Tector, who we haven't seen ball in hand, so a lot of spin options, so they're there for Tucker.
Well, it's been a really good power play. That's been a point of some weakness for Pakistan in recent times, but they'll be delighted with that. End of the 6th, 60 for 1. Paul Stirling was telling us about not wanting to go to spin because of the small boundaries. Is that a huge concern?
I don't think so. I mean, we saw Imad Wasim has been the best of the bowlers for Pakistan in some respects, so he's given you an indication of what you can do. I do think that Imad Wasim shows what you can do with spin bowling. They did seem to avoid Andy Balbirnie, though, with his bowling. As soon as Andy Balbirnie's out, he came on. So they've picked their players that they're happy to bowl spin to, and it's pretty much just anyone but Balbirnie. So maybe for Ireland, if they can get one or both of these out, they'll feel a little bit more comfortable with spin.
And interestingly, Young is going to continue. Aggression continues for Mohammad Rizwan. Look at those numbers, 40 off 18 before that delivery. I thought it was a fascinating post-match interview with him the other day. It went a bit viral around the world. What was the exact quote? If you look at average, you're going to be an average player.
It was one of my favourite quotes because I couldn't agree with him more. I'm someone who never looked at averages. It was how you felt after the game, how you felt you played. You know if you've played well or not, and it's all based on the situation that's out there. And 120 plays 121 sometimes can be the best games, better than 200 plays 201. It's all about the conditions, who's bowling, you know, the state of the game when you went out to bat. It could be 20 off 19 balls that wins a game. So, yeah, for me, he hit the nail on the head, and people get too hung up on, especially in T20 cricket, they get hung up on averages. And you could be a number 7 batter who should be averaging 10 or 15, but you've done it off 5 deliveries consistently.
And the great irony is, as he goes down the ground, oh dear, Neil Rock, who sometimes has the gloves, he will have wanted to do better there. Couldn't cut off the boundary, it's 4 more.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. It was played with power down the ground. It was all away from Neil Rock's right hand, and it just bounced over his hand as he made the dive. He tried to stay on his feet as long as he could, but have a look here, it just bounces over. He got a little bit too close, truth be told. Could have maybe done an army roll instead of going the full dive and got himself in a little bit of trouble, but it's 4 nonetheless.
And this time, more conviction from Babar Azam. Bang, bang, back-to-back boundaries. 2 very elegant cricket strokes. The first time down the ground, this time square of the wicket. Craig Young, he's being taken apart.
Looks a little bit afraid of bowling 2 straight, Craig Young. And as a result, goes 2 wide. All he had to do was miss that fielder in point. Gets the wrist through at the end as well to send that with a flourish down to the boundary rope. 50 up in this partnership now between Rizwan and Azam.
This is going to be more runs, but not all the way to the rope this time, as Graham Hume will cut it off at deep third. Azam wants the second, he's very fit. But I think rightly, Rizwan sends him back. They are 2 exceptional players, and they've no real required run rate pressure on them.
Yeah, there's a little bit more pace in the wicket as well today, and I think that'll be something Pakistan will be happy about. No extreme pace in the Ireland setup, especially without Josh Little. So it's just coming onto the bat that little bit more easily than we saw in the first 2 games.
Glorious sunshine now envelops the historic Castle Avenue venue. It's another expensive over, double-digit one again from Craig Young. He might have a rest now. 7 have been bowled, 71 for 1. Plenty of power to come as well. We saw the way in which Fakhar Zaman played the other day. Azam Khan 30 off 10, including what many of the Clontarf members are calling the biggest 6 ever hit at this ground. May well still be travelling the way in which that was pongoed over long on. And certainly Iftikhar Ahmed, I thought his cameo in the first game, Pakistan a good chance despite them not being able to defend a total of about 180, similar to today actually. Ben White, the leg spinner, into the attack. And this really has to be a wicket-taking time now for Ireland. Out of the power play, they've got their wrist spinner on, who's been in good form the last 6 to 12 months. They need a breakthrough. They might need it now.
They do. At the very least, they need a quiet over in terms of runs. They don't have too many to play with. So if Ben White can bowl a spell like we saw from Imad Wasim, then they'll be happy enough. Maybe get wickets at the other end.
Going to be a fascinating contest between these two because Rizwan likes the slog sweep, and he took Ben White on ad nauseum, didn't he, repeatedly in the spell. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. White got the better of the second over, but then the third you felt was just one too many.
Yeah, he'd figured things out, hadn't he, by then? 3 overs in T20 in a row is tough. Floats this one up. He sensed the sweep coming. Well read by Ben White.
Yeah, I'm just really enjoying watching the evolution of Ben White as a leg spinner. I think he's learning, he's getting better and better. He is somewhat unorthodox in terms of the way in which he delivers, and I just like his stump-to-stump aggression. And even that delivery there, you might think it's a drag down, but he's very flat through the air, so difficult to get away. All the spinners have indicated they don't want the batter coming at them or hitting down the ground to the short straight boundary, so they're trying to make them play square.
And that drag down, I think, shows that little bit more pace in the wicket today, because on Sunday and Friday as well, that would have held in the wicket somewhat, would have been more hittable.
This is good stuff from White. Singles won't bother Ireland for the moment. They just need a little period here from 7 to 10. Even if they can't get the wicket, like you said, as he drag things back, bring that required run rate somewhat into play. A
big question, who's going to back him up at the other end? Who's going to come on from the LP Hughes end and keep that pressure on to try and force a wicket?
Googly out of the back of the hand, very well bowled. It's a really good over. 6 runs come from it, from Ben White, showing good skills again. I think it has to be spin backing him up in a moment. It might not be, though. 8 have been bowled, 77 for 1.
Well, we spoke about spin coming on, and George Dockrell has been warming up furiously since the beginning of the day and even in the beginning of this innings. So spin to win, or no, Curtis Camphor it's going to be.
You mentioned George Dockrell and watching him bowl in the warm-ups. I'm always staggered. You watch him bowl in the warm-ups, he doesn't miss. He gets a lovely drift and a curve on the ball and he turns it away. I know he's in the team for his batting now, but I think his bowling's shown signs over the last 18, 24 months of really coming back to be a real asset for Ireland. They just seem at pains to ever go to a 6th or 7th bowler.
Well, it's very different bowling in the warm-up, as you know as well as anyone else, to bowling in the games. He definitely bowls better in the warm-ups than we've seen him in those opportunities. It's Camphor who they're going to stick with. And Camphor is someone they obviously see as more of the all-rounder, and they want George to focus on his batting. But I do think that they're missing a trick. They should have given him an opportunity, George, with the ball in this tournament, or this series, I should say. Hopefully, maybe, in the Netherlands series coming up.
Yeah, that's going to be played at the Voorburg Cricket Club in Den Haag, a tri-series between Ireland, Scotland and the Netherlands. 6 games wedged into just 7 days from the 18th to the 24th of May. Should be a really good series. I don't think any side will either win 4 or lose 4. They're always highly competitive between the 3 primary European sides, outside of England, of course, who are very much up towards the top of the rankings. I just think it's a defensive option, is he, to keep going with the seamers. Okay, you might bowl a tight over here, but are the wickets going to come? Can Ireland win this game without taking wickets? The risk of bringing Dockrell on, okay, he could go for a boundary or 2, but could he get the breakthrough?
Very big call for the stand-in skipper to make as well. If he turns to one of the bowlers that Paul Sterling doesn't usually use, he's almost sending a message to the usual captain, hey, this is what I think should be happening. And it's whether Lorcan Tucker feels comfortable expressing himself in that way, because bowling changes is how you express yourself as a captain. What a slower delivery that was from Curtis Camphor. Hasn't used them enough, I don't think, in this series. And good to see him bringing them out at this point.
Yeah, good skills, and all of a sudden, just outside of that power play, no different to what we've seen throughout the series, the runs just drying up a touch between overs 7 and 10. Rizwan and Babar Azam, they are world-class players. They're 2 of the very best Pakistan have ever produced. The one criticism they get sometimes is not for quite scoring quickly enough. Rizwan off to a flyer today, but Ireland just maybe dragging things back a touch. Can they get themselves into this contest, or is it a false dawn, is he?
Well, a couple of big deliveries coming up for Camphor, because there would be 2 quiet overs in a row if he can come out without too much damage. For Ireland, for overs 9 and 10, they scored both 13. So those were a couple of big overs for Ireland. If they can keep things quiet up till over 10, then they'll have been ahead of the game in comparison. These are little wins that you need to see as a team.
Yeah, no timing, no rhythm at all. Going back to that comment of Mohammed Rizwan's about if you look at average or an average player, it's remarkable to think, though, he is one of only 2 players from the Test Nations with an average over 50 alongside Virat Kohli.
Well, that attitude where he's not worried about his average, I think that speaks to why he is so good, because he's not thinking about the numbers. He's thinking about maybe the game situation, the conditions, what's best for the team. So the very best players, that's how they go about things. What is needed now? That's how you win.
I just love his charisma as well. He's just so talkative. He's so brilliant with the other teams as well. A sparkling player, 4 shy of 50 right now. Not going to get there yet. His camphor bowls are really effective over. Just the 4 singles come from it. Might have been bowled. 81 for 1.
Yeah, so just the 10 runs coming from those last 2 overs. A couple of quiet ones for Pakistan. They'd really enjoyed things from overs 4 to 7, but Camphor and Ben White dragging things back somewhat.
Feel every over from here is a big one. I know it sounds a little ludicrous, but if Pakistan have a big one that, let's say, goes for 15 or 20, that really, it's not game over, but the game is very much taken away from Ireland. Ireland from here almost have to be perfect to have a real chance of defending this.
Absolutely. If there's a big over, like we've seen from Hume and Young there, they've gone at 13 and 14.5. They've been the most expensive. If there's another big one, it'll be really difficult for the other bowlers to pull it back. So every over needs to be reasonably quiet. They can have 1 or 2 that go at 10s or something like that, but a really big one, 16, 17, and Pakistan will be even more in the ascendancy.
I think Rizwan is not going to be thinking about the landmark. He's not going to be thinking about 50. He's going to want to get one into his area from Ben White and go after it.
Well, just a little bit of a false start there for Ben White. Rizwan not happy about something there. Lorcan Tucker looking frustrated behind the stumps as well.
Just see he's itching to get at White, isn't he? Should be able to get a couple here because it goes right to the edge of the 30-yard circle. Good communication between the 2 primary Pakistan batters. They get back for 2.
Well, that's what his strength sweeping does as well. Harry Tector has to hang on the rope when catch comes in case strong shot comes. So when it comes off the bottom edge, he was trying to play a strong shot. He didn't mean to hit that for 2, but once it comes off the bottom edge, an easy 2.
Incredibly fit men, and it's going to be a landmark again for this man, Mohammed Rizwan. It'll be 50. It's a 28th T20 international 50 to go alongside that sole 100 that he has in this format. He's one of the leading run scorers in this format. There's almost no one apart from Kohli who averages more than him. He's one of the world's very best.
He's so entertaining to watch, isn't he? And I love the way he's not worried about getting to 50. Didn't change the way he played. Sometimes you can squeeze out a few dots, a few ones when someone's approaching 50. You can keep them quiet for an over or 2 as they're focusing on getting there. But that's not the way this man plays. Doesn't go for the red inker, doesn't look at the landmarks, and gets there more often than most.
Well, there's a decision to be made here. This could easily have been given as a no ball. Tell you why, you have to pitch it on the actual pitch. Now, there is one caveat to that law, that if the ball is too full, if it goes past the stumps, it's just a wide. I think he might have got away with one there. A real wide one from Ben White. Much, much better. When he's there, he's so good, isn't he, White? And just punched down the ground for a single.
Something interesting there is that Rizwan, as soon as he hit that, jogged. He doesn't look comfortable. He came back for that second one and the second ball of the over, and he was limping a little bit as he celebrated his 50. He's just looking a little bit uncomfortable at the non-striker's end there. Something that Pakistan will want to make sure of is that he stays fit and firing before the World Cup.
Good use of the feet and gets it inside out over extra, but picks out the man who's put it down. George Dockrell He's dropped one in the series, make it 2. Ireland, they cannot afford to drop catches. Again, it's been dropped off the bowling of Ben White, and Babar Azam has a life.
This one's swirling around, dances down, leg spin is tough to catch when it goes high. Spinning, and George Dockrell misjudges that. Not only does he misjudge it and drop the catch, it goes for 4.
Ireland's head went down when they put down 2 and 2 overs in the second T20I. Alan Lewis said in the first innings, Ireland cannot afford a single poor moment in the field, let alone any drop chances. That should have been held. The googly now from White as Babar Azam has a life on 19. For someone who is historically such a good fielder, you'd expect George Dockrell to catch that, what, 9 times out of 10 at least?
I'd say 99 times out of 100. I thought he had it in his hands. It was almost like he couldn't believe it, his reaction. He didn't even flinch as that one went to the ground. Something that Ireland need to put right very, very quickly is this catching.
And that's clever bowling. Rizwan's come outside the off stump, so rightly the wide guideline goes with him. It gets us to the halfway stage of the chase. It should be 2 down. Instead, it's only 1. It's 92 for 1. You lead.
Ireland will look back on the debrief videos and the chances, and that'll be another chance. And of all players, George Dockrell, you feel that he's one of the safest, or the safer pairs of hands in this team. He got there, and unfortunately, he spilled it. And this is a mighty 6. Oh dear.
Well, Wilco, I've stayed with you just for 1 over. This isn't a sensational strike. It's adding insult to injury for Ireland. Dockrell should have held on to Babar Azam. He's maybe the last man in Pakistan you ever want to drop. Camphor goes full. He's pumped down the ground. It's out of the ground.
Yeah, what's the expression? Rubbing salt into the wound. Well, I think he's just run into a salt mine. What have we got? Ball police here in Ireland? what have we got? The Kookaburra Ball Police one. I mean, it's just.
Well, I think there's probably a few of the neighbours who've been noticing not to sunbathe in the back garden in and around Castle Avenue.
Tell you what, Lenny, if you go around the DIY shops tomorrow, you might see a couple of white cricket balls in the window for sale. Used, not very much.
Well, these two are a class apart, Alan Wilkins, aren't they? You've done a lot of cricket in Pakistan. You've seen them not just in the PSL, but in international tournaments. How good are they? Well,
they're sublime. You know, you've got the contrasting styles. What Rizwan does, he puts you off your stride. He knocks your psyche around because there's always something. He's fidgety, and you know he's messing around with you before you've even delivered the ball. You're thinking about him when you should be thinking of your craft. And you just know that Babar is high class. That's through extra. That should be 4.
Well, this game is simply slipping through the fingers of Ireland right now. Dockrell with the catch that went down. The seamers have been persisted with. Craig Young could do nothing about that. And sadly, if you put down chances when you're defending what's probably a slightly under par total, there's not a lot you can do. And Wilco, you're not going to believe this. I think the ball is underneath our feet and we can't get it out.
Well, it's one of the few times in my career that I've been on top of the ball.
Well, Aidan Seaver, the 4th umpire today, the reserve umpire, the Wexford man, will come out with that spare box of balls. It's probably within touching distance. We just can't get it, though.
Well, we can't move because we've got the headphones on, but Alan Lewis, former Ireland captain, is standing in front of us. Louis, could you give us a bit of a report, please? How far has it gone?
Well, I wonder can Louis use those dynamic fitness skills he's showing into his, well, late 50s, early 60s. No one knows what he is just yet. There could be a big landmark coming up for the big man, the former Ireland captain. I'm just wondering, can he find this? It's actually underneath the platform that we're commentating in. Surreal scenes as the 100 has come up here in Clontarf. Pakistan, for me, they're in control of this chase. I think it's defensive options to go with medium pace bowlers like Young and Camphor in these middle overs. We've seen the spinners create chances and prove difficult to score off. I know they're part-time options in Dockrell and Tector. I think they should be getting utilised, and right now they're not.
No, they're not. Short and slapped. No, there's no length that you can defend, really.
Mark Adair, excellent at long on.
Yes, he is.
In the field. I don't think either side will be overly pleased in a funny way, whatever happens today. I think both sides have a lot to work on ahead of a World Cup that is less than 3 weeks away.
Yes. 3 matches coming up for Pakistan against England. 4, I should say. One of them in Cardiff. You'll have to tell me the other, the Oval.
Yeah, I think they go to Nottingham as well. So 4 T20Is before they head out to the World Cup. Group A, these two sides will meet, and Ireland get to take on their European rivals in Den Haag.
No, it's well fielded.
The positives, I suppose, for Ireland will be their continued signs of strength in their batting, some real consistency from Andy Balbirnie, a return to form for Lorcan Tucker, Harry Tector in the runs again, maybe not quite as quickly as he would have liked, and some sparkling cameos from the likes of Dockrell and Camphor, who's got the ball in his hand. I just wonder, is it really solidified the fact that they know what their starting 11 will be come the World Cup next month?
Shot 4. Craig Young can't dive, can't stop it.
And really, you feel a bit for Curtis Camphor here. He's been given another consecutive over, his 3rd in total in the match. He's just been taken apart. There's already 16 runs come from it. And I have to say, bowling medium pace on a very good batting wicket against the class of Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan, I don't think it's a good option. I don't mind it for 1 or 2. You have to take risk to beat higher ranked opposition. Ireland aren't doing that now. And at the moment, Pakistan, they're cruising home.
Yeah, they certainly are. 108 for 1. And they, apart from the Dockrell missed chance, the catch, there hasn't been much that has gone Ireland's way. Could be a wide, it is a wide.
Yeah, Camphor looks back, umpire Mark Hawthorne, but clearly outside the guideline. I just wonder, Wilco, will, when it comes to next month in Florida on June 16th, will these two sides actually be very closely matched? You think about the return of those 4 missing. I've no doubt Josh Little, Paul Sterling, Barry McCarthy and Gareth Delaney will all be in the 11 that day if they're fit.
Yeah.
It could be a remarkable contest to round out that Group A, as it's another wide outside the off stump.
Yeah, well, you know, you're looking at some pretty decent talent there. Josh Little especially, the left arm quick on his day.
For me, Wilco, Josh has never bowled better either. In the last 6 months, he had a brilliant first IPL and then had a difficult final, and probably found coming back to international cricket a bit tough. He's been exceptional the last 6 months, though.
Well, he's learning at the highest level. Well bowled. It's a good riposte from Curtis Camphor. 110 for 1. 11 gone. Andrew Leonard has made his way for Alan Lewis, who's left the bus lane and is looking for the ball lane. So how far did it go underneath us?
It went a long way underneath us. I'd say it's under the producer at this, just dribbled. It was one of those ones in golf terms, you know, the red markers, and you just feel it's creeping and it's creeping. Oh, it's in the water.
I've got it.
You know that one. You know all about that.
I did think you were a little slow getting to it, but that's for another conversation. Right now, we're going to see the left arm spin of George Dockrell. And over the years, George, who began with such high promise as a left-arm spinner, went down to Somerset, the county of Somerset, and then his bowling went through a lean spell. I don't like to use the word yips, but I think he got semi-yips, put it that way. And then he's come back. He's starting to believe in himself as a bowler again. He probably feels rotten that he dropped Babar Azam. Now we're going to see the left arm spin of Dockrell to Rizwan. Rizwan. Impish, isn't he? Where's that going? Where's he going?
Just what you talked about when you were on air with Andrew Leonard. He shifts around the place, he fiddles, he nudges, he nudges. And again, he was looking at this area down to us. We'll go.
See how far down the pitch he'd come. He was 3 yards out of his crease by the time he'd played the ball. Supremely confident, great confidence in his own ability.
What's nice about Rizwan, for me, is he plays the game with joy, Alan. He's constantly smiling. You saw him with his arm around Lorcan Tucker there. He had a little jibe with him.
Slapped away. All Ireland's fielders are under immense pressure here now because this is such a scoring rate.
Well,
68 to win, 51 balls remaining, and it's been all those wickets in hand.
It's been a constant, hasn't it? They've constantly kept up with the rate. I think they were 18 from 3 overs at the beginning of the power play, and it's just been an explosion since then. And it's funny with this format of the game, you can just feel the lull in the crowd a wee bit. Yeah, everyone actually really enjoys a contest. That's the one thing about cricket in particular.
There he goes again. He's made his mind up. He's already outthought the bowler. So that it almost puts him ahead of him. If it was the cars on the grid, he's in that pole position.
Well, the other thing in not getting there, he adjusts and just takes his medicine and plays it out for one, which
good call.
Is a great sign. It's the end of the 12th. Pakistan 115 for 1. Yeah, I'm a little bit in the Andrew Leonard camp. I'd like to see Harry Tector come into the attack as well. I'd like to see just that bit of pace off the ball. We saw that with Ben White. Ben White bowled very well. He's bowled well through this series. Again, more of the difficulty. These two players, they're not far away from a 100 partnership, this pair. And two great players, as we know. But it's Craig Young who's come back into the attack.
And he's taken some punishment, hasn't he? So there's a long on and a deep mid-wicket and a deep backward square, all on that leg side.